Hello everyone, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I'm going to do a fast and loose watercolor painting from a photograph. I'm going to be playing with a different editing format where I'm going to have a picture that I'm painting from and a picture of the final product running throughout. You should be able to see my palette, and everything should kind of answer a lot of questions that people are asking or talking about with editing these videos. So, anywho, that being said, I have an 11 by 14 quarter sheet of Stonehenge Aqua. This is 100% cotton, 140 pound cold press. I just saturated with water with a hake brush, and I have a medium Ranson hake brush. The photograph that I'm working from is by my friend Teresa, and if you check out my link down below for my Patreon, you'll be able to click that and there'll be a photo for you to utilize there. Okay, with that being said, let's get started. I jumped on this painting, this photograph, sorry, because of the high horizon line. And I thought it would be interesting, since there's so much water within the painting itself, within the composition, how to kind of address that. So here we have our ultramarine. In this general area is where I'll put my horizon line, so it'll be a high horizon line. I'm skipping around wet and wet to create those cloud effects. Our horizon will be right in here. Now work our way down. I'm going to mix a little bit of alizarin into this. I've been kind of enjoying the alizarin and ultramarine mix. And then in the photograph, it moves over to kind of a muddy water near us. So I'm going some burnt sienna. Everything's wet and wet, so it'll diffuse nicely. And then we have this landmass right here, the edge, and I'm going to mix burnt umber and ultramarine. Get a nice dark gray from that. That combination I had found in a book by James Fletcher Watson, and he had used it for stormy skies. It seems like good landmass gray. It'll diffuse into the other area around it, so I'm going to have to come back over in a bit to get a little bit more texture and kind of body to it. I'm flattening my paper out. And we're going to wind up having a tree that's fallen over going in this direction. And here is our one group of trees. We have far distant landmass, and then we have another group of trees. I'm just using that same pigment just to kind of map it out. Grab a little bit of Payne's Gray on the darker half of this. And I think I'm going to grab some lemon yellow into this mix. The lemon yellow and the Payne's Gray will give you a green. We'll get some in there. I'm just trying to break up my textures and form. I'm going to even grab some stronger lemon yellow for the clumps of grass that are kind of protruding on this edge. So in the interest of, I guess, brevity, like shortening these videos, and really truly having a fast and loose landscape, I'm going to pause and do a dry off. We'll put in the far horizon line, we'll do a little emphasis there, and we'll play around with that tree. But before we do that, let's scrape out a highlight for the top of this dead tree. We'll use that as that white reflective portion on the top of it. We even have some other elements popping around. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and do a quick dry off. Alright, should be dry enough. I'm going to take my ultramarine and mix in a little bit of light red oxide for this. This will give my distant purple. I have a number 4 rigger. It's going to be this landmass back here. And you could feed a little bit of burnt umber in there for a little bit of variety. Ooh. And you could have cats knocking stuff over. Alright. We'll use this stronger mix for the darker portion of these trees. Perspective wise, this is a little bit lower. And just trying to get a little bit of variety in there. Using the side of this brush for texture. We have some vertical tree trunks that are showing. I'm not going to paint everything. I'm just going to give the illusion, the idea of these guys taking place. I'll have to mix a little bit more. Just creating that little bump right there, just to give that sense of depth. Grab a little bit of my green that I had mixed earlier. I'm gonna dry it off so it's a little bit more of a dry brush. Just quickly putting texture in with that. You could even come in with the hake brush and scrape. You could do wet and wet vertical lines with a number 1 rigger, just because it's kind of a pointier one and I don't have the softest hand with that. A little more dark, a little bit of variety. Now let's move to this foreground. I have some green on this hake brush still. Just going to throw some burnt umber. I haven't washed the hake brush yet for this painting. It's not as wet, so I can get more of a textured effect. And I'm just kind of dabbing, moving, swiping, getting a variety in here. You can almost think of this as an exercise in loosening up. I'm going to wash this guy. I think it would be beneficial to, and I just have a paper towel to kind of wipe off. I think I'm going to grab a little bit of ultramarine, try to dry off my brush as much as I can. Grab a little bit for a little dry brush. Just get those ripples over that water. Even use to add a little texture back here. Okay, now I'm going to switch back to that number 4. I'm going to grab ultramarine and burnt umber. This is more concentrated mixture. It's for the underside of this tree that fell. And just doing some gestural marks. Percy, what you chewing on? Percy's teething, and I'm not sure exactly what to do for a teething cat. We bought some toys and stuff for her to chew on, so wish us luck. Okay, I don't think we've used any raw sienna, so I'll grab a little bit of raw sienna and put that in and feed that wet and wet. Get some variety. And some of the highlights that we had scraped out, I'm just kind of covering up, and I can come back in and scrape again. Then we have this darker guy right here. I'm grabbing a little bit of Payne's Gray just to switch it up a little bit. Letting him dance across. We have a shadow here. There's a whole bunch of twigs, branches. You can play with the number 4 or the number 1 and put those guys in. We have this one coming off from the side, which I figure will look interesting coming from the side of the mat. And we even have branches coming from up here. And I'll stay within the number 4 just for simplicity. Grab a little bit of lemon yellow though, and some ultramarine for a little bit of foliage that'll come off. You could feed some burnt sienna in there. This will give a little bit sense of depth. And at this point you could tinker back and forth and play around, but this would be the basics of getting a fast and loose painting down. So I think now would be a good time for me to do my wrap up, where with these paintings, with these tutorials, you're more than welcome to follow along. And if you ever get the opportunity to sell one of these paintings, you have my permission, express permission to sell anything that you do when you follow one of these tutorials. I want you all to be successful. Painting supplies are expensive, and this will help you out in your painting journey. Please like, subscribe, follow. I do have a link down below if you want to support this channel financially for my Patreon. That's helpful. And if you ever have questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to address them. If you have any suggestions, any ideas, anything you'd like to see. So we're probably about 16 minutes in at this point. Let me see if I can take a look and see. Oh, we're 14 and 50 seconds, which is good time. That'll give me time to do a dry off and show you what the finished painting looks like. Oh, and of course, if you ever follow one of these, I'd love to see your results. And I have a whole bunch of links to my different social media where you can check me out and contact me and show me what you did. Or tag me in what you did. I'd love to see it. Ooh, we could even put a little bird. I think there's a bird in the photograph on the side, so we'll put him right. Just grab some Payne's Gray. There you go. They pause for the dry off. Ooh, there's actually a little boat too. Let's put the boat in. I should grab the #1 rigger, but I am being stubborn in the fact that I want to keep it as simple as possible with tools for y'all. I might have to replace this guy soon. There you go.